climate control assembly replacement on a 1994 Acura Integra.
So I have to replace my control head for my heater today because the lever broke from the cable mechanism, which is in my dash. So this is the assembly I have to replace because when I move this lever right here, it no longer pulls on the cable and changes the temperature. The lever is broken from the bracket behind it. I bought this whole unit from eBay as a used mechanism.
Here are the tools I used. However, you won't need all of these. I have pared it down in the next slide. There are a couple specialty tools that will make this job a lot simpler. The essential tools are a flashlight, a number 2 flat blade screwdriver, a 1/4-inch hex flat ratchet with a number 2 Phillips hex bit, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, this one's extra long but you don't need the extra long one, a flat blade pocket screwdriver with a magnet or something very similar. A plastic trim tool is nice but not necessarily required, and a number 2 stubby Phillips was also really helpful. The flat ratchet and the number 2 Phillips bit can be replaced with a tool I found on Amazon. I will put a link in the description. Also the plastic trim tool, which is not necessarily required but very nice. This tool is less than $1, however you'll pay more than that for shipping. I did find this trim toolkit on Amazon, which is only about $6, and you get a lot more than just the one tool. Start by carefully prying out the rear window defogger switch and the emergency flasher switch. Unplug them from the electrical connectors. Notice that each connector is slightly different, so you can't mix them up. There are 2 screws hidden behind these switches that hold the bezel onto the dash. Remove those 2 screws. I found it easier to do this job if I remove the glove box. There are only 3 screws that we have to remove. First, remove the screw that holds the drop support. Then pull the drop support off of the glove box mount. Then there are 2 screws up underneath the glove box, one on the right hand side near the A panel and the other one closer to the heater controls. These are Phillips head, or you can use an 8mm hex wrench. Then lift the glove box up and move it out of your way. This gives more access to the cable. Take the cable out of the clip and remove it from the lever.
So check to make sure that the mechanism works smoothly. It is not binding and the doors are working properly.
Use the trim tool to carefully pry the bezel away from the dash. Carefully pull the heater control and the bezel away from the dash so you have access to the bezel mounting screws. There are 2 screws on each side. Here I used a small ratchet and a Phillips bit to remove one screw, and here's where I used the flat ratchet and the Phillips bit to remove the other screws. After removing all 4 screws, the bezel can be moved out of your way. There is a green electrical connector and a white electrical connector. These have to be unplugged. This was one of the most difficult parts, getting to the clips to remove those connectors, especially the white one all the way in the back. My fat hands made it more difficult. I used the flat blade screwdriver to reach in and press on the release clips to get these connectors to come loose.
So here we can see if you move the temperature lever, it doesn't move this cable, which is what it's supposed to move. If we look at the replacement item, we can see moving the temperature lever moves the cable.
Feed the cable of the replacement part through the dash and connect both electrical connectors.
So before putting it all back together, let's test it. Turn your ignition on. Check the blower speeds. Check to see if it comes out the center vents. Check to see if it distributes between upper and lower. Check that it all goes lower. This is a split between lower and the defrost. 100% defrost. And then listen for the difference on recirc. And then your air conditioning. And I have not hooked this up yet. I'll hook this up after I put it back all together here. So we've got it plugged in the back here, both locations. Now we got to get this bezel back on and connect the cable back up.
Reattach the bezel to the climate control assembly using all 4 screws. Make sure the cable is close to the control lever. Then carefully insert the bezel and the control assembly back into the dash. Then reinstall the screws that hold the bezel to the dash. Reinstall the emergency flasher switch, then reinstall the rear window defogger switch.
Okay, all back together. So to adjust the cable, we're going to take the temperature lever, we're going to push it all the way over to the hot. We do need to come down underneath here, make sure that our cable has come through just fine. Here's where the cable clips onto, right here. And in the hot position, we extended that cable, so we want it all the way over to the full hot. Then we can come over and we can connect our cable up. So we're going to want to make sure the cable is here. And let's check the operation. And that looks good.
Put the glove box back in place using the 3 screws you removed earlier.